Number 1. This 1939 Ford Business Coupe, currently listed at $39,500 in Greenwood, Indiana, is a fully built restomod that blends pre-war Ford styling with modern comfort features and a powerful Chevrolet big block engine, creating a classic cruiser that is designed for both show appeal and enjoyable long-distance driving. According to the seller, this coupe is finished in a champagne gold exterior and presents itself as a well-kept, high-quality build with a clean title and no reported damage or issues. The car is powered by a 454 cubic inch Chevrolet V8 engine, paired with an automatic transmission, giving it significantly more performance than it would have originally had when it left the factory in 1939. In my opinion, one of the most noticeable aspects of this build is how heavily it focuses on comfort and usability. While many vintage hot rods prioritize aggressive styling or stripped-down interiors, this particular Ford appears to be built as a comfortable driver. Features such as air conditioning, heat, power steering, and power brake suggest that the goal of the build was to make the car enjoyable in almost any driving condition rather than just a weekend showpiece. The seller also highlights several interior upgrades, including a tilt steering column, leather seating, an overhead stereo system, and a built-in drink console. These details point toward a custom interior design for convenience and long-distance comfort, which is not always common in pre-war hot rod builds. The car is also described as having ample interior space for taller drivers, which further supports its focus on practicality. From an exterior standpoint, the vehicle is said to feature excellent paint quality, lots of chrome, and a rust-free, straight body with no dents or scratches. The seller also mentions that it has won awards for its paint, suggesting that it has likely been shown and well received in car shows or exhibitions. Personally, I think the 1939 Ford Business Coupe is one of the most balanced platforms in the late pre-war Ford lineup. It retains the classic streamlined look of the era while offering enough interior space and structural design flexibility to accommodate modern upgrades effectively. When combined with a big block 454 engine and comfort-oriented modifications, it becomes more of a grand touring classic than a traditional hot rod. For buyers looking for a polished, fully sorted restomod that can be driven regularly without sacrificing classic style, this 1939 Ford presents a strong option. At $39,500, it delivers a combination of performance, comfort, and show-quality presentation that makes it a versatile and enjoyable classic American coupe. Number 2. This 1949 Plymouth Deluxe Business Coupe, currently listed at $13,500 in Lincolnton, North Carolina, is a strong example of a well-preserved post-war American classic that emphasizes originality and survivor-quality condition over heavy restoration or modification. It presents itself as a clean, usable vintage coupe that still retains much of its factory character and charm. According to the seller, the car shows just 68,000 original miles and is described as a well-cared-for survivor rather than a project vehicle. That distinction is important, as it suggests the vehicle has not been heavily altered or rebuilt, but instead maintained over time in a way that preserves its authenticity. The body is reported to be straight and clean, with a well-kept interior that reflects its overall preserved condition. From my perspective, one of the most interesting aspects of this Plymouth is its business coupe configuration. Unlike standard coupes, this design features a smooth rear deck without a rear seat, giving it a sleeker and more utilitarian profile. This body style was originally intended for traveling salesmen and professionals who needed cargo space instead of rear passengers. But today, it is often appreciated for its rarity and distinctive appearance within the late 1940s automotive landscape. Mechanically, the vehicle is equipped with a classic flathead inline-six engine paired with a manual transmission. While not a performance-oriented setup by modern standards, this drivetrain is valued for its simplicity, reliability, and historical significance. In my view, this combination makes the car more about the driving experience and nostalgia rather than speed or power. The seller describes the vehicle as a clean driver-quality classic, which suggests it is intended to be enjoyed as is rather than immediately restored or modified. This type of condition is often attractive to buyers who want a vintage car they can drive regularly without committing to a full restoration project. The presence of a clean title further supports its straightforward ownership history. Overall, I believe this 1949 Plymouth Deluxe Business Coupe represents a solid entry into post-war classic car ownership. Its low mileage, survivor condition, and unique body style make it stand out among more common sedans and coupes from the same era. For enthusiasts who value originality, usability, and classic American styling, this Plymouth offers a balanced and approachable option at its current asking price. Number 3. This 1940 Chevrolet Master 85 sedan, currently listed at $5,500 in Washington, West Virginia, is a partially restored pre-war classic that appears to be a solid restoration project with most of the major structural work already completed. According to the seller, the car is equipped with its original 216 cubic inch inline-six engine that has been refreshed. In my opinion, retaining the original engine is always a plus for collectors who value authenticity, especially in early Chevrolet models like this, where drivetrain originality helps preserve historical character. The seller states that the vehicle is approximately 95% reassembled, with new metal floors and trunk floors already installed. This is an important detail because floor and trunk replacements are often among the most time-consuming and costly parts of a restoration. Having this work already completed suggests that a significant portion of the heavy fabrication has been done. Structurally, the body is described as solid and very straight, which is a strong foundation for any restoration project. However, the paintwork is noted to be uneven and blotchy, as it was sprayed using House of Collar paint without proper application technique. In my view, this is not unusual for partially finished builds, and paint issues are typically one of the final steps that can be corrected once all mechanical and bodywork tasks are complete. From a project perspective, this Chevrolet sits in an interesting middle ground. It is not a finished show car, but it is also not a complete teardown. Instead, it appears to be a mostly assembled classic that still requires cosmetic refinement and final detailing to reach a higher level of completion. What stands out to me is the potential value here. Early 1940 Chevrolet sedans are appreciated for their smooth styling and pre-war charm, and this example already has major structural repairs completed. For someone with the time and skill, it could become a very attractive vintage cruiser or mild custom build. Overall, if the seller's description is accurate, this 1940 Chevrolet Master 85 sedan represents a budget-friendly entry into classic car restoration. It offers a solid body, a running original-style engine, and most of the difficult metalwork already done, leaving the finishing stages for a new owner to complete according to their vision. Number 4. This 1948 Plymouth Coupe, currently listed at $10,000 in Madison, Virginia, is a custom-built classic that combines late 1940s American styling with a more modern drivetrain and chassis setup, making it a budget-friendly street rod project with strong performance potential. According to the seller, the vehicle has been mounted on a 1979 Chevrolet El Camino frame, which is a significant modification that replaces the original factory underpinnings with a more modern and durable platform. Power comes from a 355 cubic inch small block Chevrolet engine equipped with aluminum heads and a street/strip camshaft, suggesting that this build is tuned more toward performance than originality. In my opinion, the most important aspect of this car is the foundation it sits on. While purists may prefer original frames and drivetrains, using an El Camino chassis gives this Plymouth improved parts availability, better suspension geometry, and generally more predictable handling compared to stock 1940s engineering. This makes it a more practical choice for someone who wants to enjoy driving a classic without dealing with outdated mechanical limitations. The engine is paired with a 700 R4 overdrive automatic transmission, which is a popular upgrade in Restomod builds because it allows for lower cruising RPM on the highway while still delivering strong acceleration when needed. A 10-bolt rear end further supports reliability and ease of maintenance, especially for a vehicle intended to be driven regularly. The body has also received attention, with new fabricated trunk and floor pans already installed. This is a positive sign for a project car at this price point, as structural rust repair is often one of the most time-consuming and expensive parts of a restoration. The seller also mentions fresh upholstery on the seats, along with a new headliner and weather stripping, indicating that some effort has already been made to improve both comfort and usability. Visually, the car is finished in torch red with American racing wheels, giving it a classic hot rod appearance that fits well with its performance-oriented setup. In my view, the styling choices are straightforward but effective, focusing more on a clean street rod look rather than a heavily customized show build. Additionally, the vehicle comes with extra parts included in the sale, which could be valuable for someone planning to continue the build or complete finishing touches. Overall, if the mechanical components are sound, this 1948 Plymouth Coupe appears to be an affordable entry point into the world of custom street rods. It offers a strong performance foundation, upgraded drivetrain, partial restoration work already completed, and plenty of potential for further customization, making it an interesting project for enthusiasts who are comfortable finishing a build on their own. Number 5. This 1936 Ford Humpback, currently listed at $18,500 in Staten Island, New York, is a classic pre-war American V8 sedan that appears to have been preserved and maintained as a clean, road-ready vintage cruiser rather than a full custom build or restoration project. In my opinion, what makes this car appealing is its simplicity and originality in presentation. Unlike heavily modified hot rods, this Ford is described as a straightforward classic with a clean body and no rust, which is already a strong selling point for a vehicle of this age. Cars from the mid-1930s are often heavily restored or modified, so finding one that is presented as clean and kept original can be relatively uncommon. According to the seller, the car is equipped with a V8 engine and is reported to run and drive great. While no detailed specifications are provided, the emphasis on drivability suggests that this is a usable classic rather than a static showpiece. From a practical standpoint, that makes it more attractive to buyers who want to enjoy the car immediately rather than commit to a long restoration or mechanical rebuild. The listing also highlights low mileage and a clean interior, which in my view indicates that the car has likely been enjoyed carefully and not subjected to heavy wear or neglect. However, as with most vintage vehicles, especially ones from the 1930s, buyers would still need to verify the mechanical condition in person, since older cars can often have hidden age-related issues even when they appear well kept. Finished in a red exterior with a matching red interior, the car presents a bold and classic color combination that fits the styling of the era. The 1936 Ford body design is widely appreciated among collectors for its rounded humpback rear profile, which gives the car a distinctive silhouette compared to other pre-war sedans. The seller states that the vehicle is under their name and emphasizes that it is ready for serious buyers only, suggesting a straightforward private sale without major complications. In my opinion, this kind of listing often appeals to local collectors or weekend enthusiasts who want a usable vintage Ford rather than a highly modified show car. Overall, this 1936 Ford the Fifth 8 Humpback represents a clean and relatively simple entry into pre-war classic ownership. At $18,500, it sits in the range of a driver-quality vintage sedan that offers classic styling, V8 performance, and immediate usability, making it a solid option for someone who values authenticity and originality over heavy customization. Number 6. This 1953 Buick Special 2-door, currently listed at $5,500 in DeMott, Indiana, is an original post-war American classic that presents itself as a restoration or project opportunity, offering vintage Buick styling with its original drivetrain still in place, but requiring mechanical attention to return to running condition. According to the seller, this Buick retains its original straight-8 engine paired with a 3-speed manual transmission. While the engine is not currently running, it does turn over by hand, which is generally a positive sign for a vehicle that has been in long-term storage. However, the car currently has no brakes and would require significant mechanical work before it could be safely driven again. In my opinion, the most important aspect of this listing is its originality and honesty about condition. Unlike fully restored or modified vehicles, This Buick appears to be a true survivor that was last refurbished in the 1980s and has since been stored for approximately 23 years. That long period of inactivity has contributed to visible rust and imperfections, which are clearly acknowledged by the seller. The exterior is described as having some rust and age-related wear, which is expected for a vehicle of this era that has not been actively maintained. However, the overall body is still intact, and the fact that it retains its original straight-eight engine makes it an interesting candidate for restoration purists who value factory-correct drivetrains and vintage authenticity. Personally, I think the 1953 Buick Special represents an important transitional period in American automotive design. It carries the bold, rounded styling of the early 1950s while still maintaining mechanical simplicity compared to later generations. While this particular example is not currently roadworthy, it offers a strong foundation for someone interested in a full restoration project or a period-correct rebuild. For enthusiasts willing to take on a long-term project, this Buick Special could be an affordable entry point into classic American ownership. At $5,500, it reflects more of a restoration starting point than a finished vehicle, but carries the potential to become a very attractive vintage cruiser once properly revived. Number 7. This 1946 Ford 500 Deluxe, currently listed at $16,500 in Livingston, Tennessee, is a simple but appealing post-war classic that has been upgraded into a straightforward street-ready driver. It is not a factory original restoration, but rather a modified vintage Ford that blends classic 1940s styling with more modern and practical Chevrolet drivetrain components. According to the seller, the car is powered by a 350 cubic inch engine paired with a 350 automatic transmission, along with power steering and power brakes. This combination is a very common and proven setup in the classic car world, mainly because it delivers reliability, ease of maintenance, and significantly better drivability compared to the original factory drivetrain. In my view, this makes the car more accessible for someone who wants to enjoy a vintage look without dealing with the challenges of outdated mechanical systems. The listing describes the car as a good driver, and from the information provided, it seems intended to be enjoyed on the road rather than shown as a fully restored collector piece. The mileage is stated at 20,000, although with modified classics like this, the figure is often less about total historical mileage and more about the condition of the current build. From my perspective, what stands out most is the character of the 1946 Ford body style itself. The post-war Ford design carries a distinctive rounded, early American aesthetic that still attracts attention today. When combined with a black exterior and black interior, the car likely has a clean, understated presence that fits well within the traditional street rod style. While the description is brief, it suggests a no-frills approach, power steering, power brakes, V8 performance, and automatic transmission, all focused on making the car easy to drive rather than original or Concours correct. This type of build is especially popular among enthusiasts who prefer cruising over restoration authenticity. Overall, I believe this 1946 Ford 500 Deluxe represents a practical and enjoyable entry-level classic for someone looking for a vintage Ford with modern drivability upgrades already in place. It may not be a high-end show car, but it offers a usable and familiar street rod experience at a relatively accessible price point. Number 8. This 1947 Plymouth Business Coupe Special Deluxe, currently listed at $9,000 in Harrogate, Tennessee, is a post-war American classic that stands out due to its long family ownership history and mostly original configuration. According to the seller, the car has remained in the same family since it was purchased new in 1947, which adds a strong sense of provenance and historical value. The vehicle is equipped with its original flathead six-cylinder engine paired with a 3-speed manual transmission on the column. In my opinion, this kind of drivetrain represents the simplicity and durability that defined late 1940s American cars, making it especially appealing to enthusiasts who appreciate authentic vintage driving experiences rather than modern performance conversions. The seller notes that the car has been upgraded to a 12-volt electrical system, which is a common and practical modification for classic vehicles. This upgrade improves starting reliability, lighting performance, and compatibility with modern accessories, while still maintaining the car's original mechanical identity. From a condition standpoint, the body is described as solid, and the vehicle is said to run and drive well. The interior has also been updated, which suggests that the car has been maintained with usability in mind rather than strict originality. In my view, this places the Plymouth in the category of a driver-quality classic rather than a fully restored showpiece. Another notable detail is the inclusion of wide white wall tires, which complement the car's period-correct styling and enhance its vintage appearance. These small aesthetic choices help preserve the classic post-war look that makes cars from this era so distinctive. What I find most interesting about this listing is its balance between originality and usability. While many surviving cars from the 1940s have been heavily modified or fully restored, this Plymouth appears to retain much of its original character while still being mechanically updated enough to enjoy on the road today. Overall, if the seller's description is accurate, this 1947 Plymouth Business Coupe Special Deluxe offers an honest and approachable entry into classic car ownership. It combines family history, original mechanical components, and light modernization, making it an appealing option for someone who wants a usable vintage coupe without the complexity or cost of a full restoration project. Number 9. This 1948 Pontiac Silver Streak 8, currently listed at $11,000 in Trenton, South Carolina, is a classic post-war American sedan that showcases Pontiac's iconic styling and engineering from the late 1940s era. Powered by its original straight-eight engine and paired with an automatic transmission, this vehicle represents a period when American automakers were transitioning into more refined and comfortable full-size cars. According to the seller, the car is mostly original and still runs and drives well, which is an important detail for a vehicle of this age. It also comes with documentation from its restoration process, suggesting that it has been at least partially preserved or refurbished rather than left untouched over the decades. In my opinion, what makes this Pontiac interesting is its authenticity. Unlike heavily modified hot rods or Restomods, this Silver Streak appears to remain close to its factory configuration, which can be very appealing to collectors who value originality and historical accuracy. The straight-eight engine, in particular, is a key part of Pontiac's identity during this era and is becoming increasingly rare to find in running condition. The exterior is finished in a simple gray color, matched with a gray interior, giving the car a clean but understated appearance. However, the seller does mention that the chrome could use some attention. In my view, this is fairly typical for a classic car of this age, especially one that has seen regular use in events and rentals rather than being stored as a pure showpiece. One notable detail is that the vehicle has been used for weddings and events, which suggests it has a presentable and reliable condition, even if it is not a fully restored Concours-level example. Cars used in this way often strike a balance between functionality and classic appeal, making them enjoyable for both owners and passengers. Overall, this 1948 Pontiac Silver Streak 8 appears to be a solid entry-level classic car with strong historical character, original mechanical components, and usable driving condition. While it may require cosmetic improvements to the chrome and exterior detailing, it offers a chance to own a piece of late 1940s American automotive history at a relatively accessible price point. Number 10. This 1947 Chevrolet Fleetline, currently listed at $25,000 in Cumming, Georgia, is a post-war American classic that blends the iconic fastback styling of the Fleetline series with a later model V8 drivetrain upgrade for improved performance and drivability. In my opinion, what immediately stands out about this car is the combination of its original body design and its modernized mechanical setup. The 1947 Fleetline is already a visually distinctive vehicle, known for its smooth, aerodynamic fastback shape that reflects Chevrolet's early post-war design direction. Even today, it remains one of the more recognizable silhouettes from the late 1940s era. According to the seller, this example is equipped with a 350 cubic inch Chevrolet engine paired with an automatic transmission. From a practical standpoint, this kind of engine swap is very common in classic car culture because it significantly improves reliability, power output, and ease of maintenance compared to the original factory drivetrain. In my view, this makes the car more usable as a daily driver or weekend cruiser rather than just a showpiece. The listing notes that the vehicle has a clean title and no significant damage or problems, which suggests that it has been maintained at least to a functional standard. However, with classic cars of this age and mileage, it is still important for potential buyers to inspect the vehicle carefully, especially regarding rust, chassis condition, and the quality of the engine swap installation. Finished in a turquoise exterior, the car has a classic mid-century American look that fits well with its period design. While interior details are not fully specified in the listing, the Fleetline's cabin layout is generally known for its spacious and straightforward design, reflecting the practical nature of post-war Chevrolet engineering. With approximately 100,000 miles reported, this vehicle likely has a long history of use, which is typical for cars of this era that have survived in modern times. In my opinion, that kind of mileage is not necessarily a drawback as long as the mechanical upgrades have been properly executed and the body remains structurally sound. Overall, this 1947 Chevrolet Fleetline represents a classic American fastback that has been updated for modern drivability. At $25,000, it sits in the range of a driver-oriented vintage cruiser, offering a mix of nostalgic styling and improved mechanical performance, making it appealing to enthusiasts who want a classic they can actually enjoy on the road. Number 11. This 1939 Ford, currently listed at $18,500 in Franklin, North Carolina, is a classic pre-war Ford that has been updated for improved reliability while still retaining its original flathead V8 character and traditional hot rod appeal. According to the seller, this vehicle is powered by a flathead V8 engine that has recently been rebuilt, paired with a manual transmission. The car has also been converted to a 12-volt electrical system, which is a common and practical upgrade for vintage vehicles, improving starting reliability, lighting performance, and compatibility with modern accessories. In my opinion, one of the most appealing aspects of this Ford is that it appears to stay relatively close to its traditional roots while still incorporating essential usability upgrades. The flathead V8 remains one of the most iconic engines in early American automotive history, and keeping it in a properly rebuilt condition helps preserve the authentic driving experience that enthusiasts value. The seller also notes that the interior has been updated with LeBaron Bonney-style materials, which are well known in the restoration world for producing quality reproduction upholstery kits designed to match original factory specifications. This suggests that the cabin has been refreshed in a way that respects the car's original design while improving comfort and appearance. Additionally, the vehicle is described as having no rust and being in good overall condition, which is an important factor for any pre-war Ford. Many surviving examples from this era suffer from corrosion issues, so a rust-free body significantly increases both usability and long-term value. The car is also reported to have tires in good condition, indicating that it is likely roadworthy and capable of being enjoyed without immediate major investment. Combined with the rebuilt engine and upgraded electrical system, this suggests a vehicle that is closer to a reliable driver than a full restoration project. Personally, I think the 1939 Ford remains one of the most balanced and visually appealing designs from the late pre-war era. It has a smoother, more modern look compared to earlier Ford models while still maintaining strong traditional hot rod potential. When paired with a flathead V8 and tasteful upgrades, it becomes a classic that can be enjoyed without losing its historical identity. For enthusiasts looking for an affordable entry into pre-war Ford ownership with a focus on drivability and originality, this example presents a solid opportunity. At $18,500, it offers a combination of classic flathead power, upgraded reliability, and clean presentation that makes it a compelling vintage cruiser. Number 12. This 1940 Ford the Fifth 8 Coupe, currently listed at $15,500 in Irvington, Kentucky, is a classic example of a traditional hot rod build that blends iconic pre-war Ford styling with a more modern Chevrolet V8 drivetrain. It presents itself as a show-ready cruiser that has been updated for improved reliability and everyday drivability while still maintaining its vintage character. According to the seller, The car is powered by a Chevy 350 engine that has recently been rebuilt, which is a strong point for potential buyers looking for a dependable classic with fresh mechanical work. This type of engine swap is very common in the hot rod community because it provides significantly more power, easier maintenance, and widely available parts compared to the original flathead V8. The vehicle also retains a 3-on-the-tree manual transmission setup, which preserves a bit of its old-school driving feel despite the upgraded engine. From my perspective, one of the most appealing aspects of this build is the balance between originality and modernization. The 1944 coupe body is widely regarded as one of the most elegant pre-war designs, with smooth flowing lines and a timeless silhouette that still attracts attention at car shows today. Finished in green with a tan interior and described as having a clean and well-kept cabin, this car appears to maintain a strong visual presence that aligns well with its car show-ready description. The addition of a modern Bluetooth radio and sound system is a small but meaningful upgrade, especially for enthusiasts who want to enjoy longer drives without completely sacrificing comfort or convenience. These kinds of subtle modern touches often make classic cars more enjoyable without taking away from their vintage appeal. While the listing is relatively brief, it emphasizes that the car is in a ready-to-drive condition, with a focus on presentation and usability rather than a full factory original restoration. In my view, that places it in the category of a driver-quality hot rod, something built to be seen, heard, and enjoyed rather than stored away. Overall, I believe this 1944 V8 Coupe offers a solid combination of classic styling, updated mechanical reliability, and show-ready presentation. For someone looking for an affordable entry into pre-war Ford hot rods with a fresh engine and tasteful upgrades, this vehicle appears to be a very appealing option at its current asking price. Number 13. This 1947 Plymouth Special Deluxe, currently listed at $14,000 in Canfield, Ohio, is a post-war American classic that has undergone a previous restoration and presents itself as a clean, driver-ready vintage sedan with mostly preserved original character. According to the seller, the vehicle has been restored by a previous owner and shows very well both inside and out. It retains its original flathead straight-six engine paired with a 3-speed manual transmission on the column, often referred to as 3 on the tree. In my opinion, this drivetrain setup is a key part of the car's charm, offering a simple and authentic driving experience that reflects the engineering of the late 1940s. The seller notes that the car has been updated with a new 6-volt wiring harness and a 6-volt battery system. While still maintaining its original electrical architecture, this kind of fresh wiring is an important upgrade because it improves reliability and reduces common electrical issues found in older classic vehicles. From a presentation standpoint, the car is described as beautiful inside and out, suggesting that the restoration work has given it a strong visual appeal. However, the seller does mention that there are a few dents and small nicks in the body, which is not uncommon for restored classics that have seen some use after completion. In my opinion, these minor imperfections are often expected in driver-quality cars and can even add a bit of character rather than taking away from the overall value. The vehicle is said to have only minimal mileage since restoration, with around 300 miles driven, which indicates that it has likely been used sparingly and possibly stored for long periods. This can be both a positive and a cautionary detail, depending on how well it was maintained during storage. What stands out to me is the balance between restoration quality and real-world usability. This Plymouth is not a museum-grade showpiece, but it appears to be a carefully restored classic that can be enjoyed on the road without requiring major immediate work. Overall, if the seller's description is accurate, this 1947 Plymouth Special Deluxe represents a solid mid-level classic car offering. It combines post-war American styling, original mechanical components, and a prior restoration that keeps it visually appealing, making it a strong option for enthusiasts who want a vintage cruiser that is ready to drive and enjoy. Number 14. This 1937 Ford 500 Limited Sedan, currently listed at $21,500 in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, is a pre-war American classic that combines vintage Ford styling with a refreshed mechanical setup and long-term restoration history. Finished in a deep Washington blue exterior with a brown interior, this four-door sedan maintains the elegant, formal design language that Ford was known for during the late 1930s. According to the seller, the vehicle shows approximately 44,000 miles and has undergone significant restoration work, including a full redo completed in California in the early 2000s. More recently, the original engine was replaced with a fully rebuilt unit in 2025 due to a crack in the original block, and it has only been driven about 3,000 miles since the installation. In my opinion, this is an important detail because it suggests the car is not only preserved cosmetically, but also mechanically updated enough to remain usable in modern driving conditions. A freshly rebuilt engine in a pre-war Ford can significantly improve reliability, especially compared to untouched original power plants from this era. The seller describes the frame as being in exceptional condition, noting that it is clean enough to eat off, which implies that the structural integrity has been well maintained over the years. Additionally, the Washington blue paint is highlighted as a strong visual feature, and based on the description, it appears to be in very good condition, contributing to the car's overall presentation. One of the more interesting historical touches is that the glass still carries Ford Motor Company markings, which adds authenticity and reinforces the car's original identity. These small details often matter a great deal to collectors who appreciate period-correct components. Inside, the brown interior complements the exterior color well, creating a classic and warm vintage cabin atmosphere. While the listing does not go into extensive detail about interior upgrades, the overall presentation suggests a restored but still traditional layout that stays true to the vehicle's original character. Another notable aspect is the seller's openness to trades, specifically for mid-1950s Ford or Chevrolet models, which indicates that this car may be part of a broader enthusiast-to-enthusiast exchange rather than a strictly commercial sale. Overall, if the condition is as described, this 1937 Ford 500 Limited sedan appears to be a well-preserved and partially updated pre-war classic that offers strong historical appeal, a recently refreshed engine, and a clean, presentable appearance. It stands out as a solid example of late 1930s Ford engineering that remains enjoyable and visually striking even today. Number 15. This 1949 Plymouth Special Deluxe, currently listed at $1,000 in Montrose, Virginia, is a classic post-war American sedan that represents both a historical piece of automotive design and a realistic restoration project for an experienced hobbyist. In my opinion, what makes this car interesting is not its condition, but its story and completeness. Nicknamed Clyde by the seller, this Plymouth carries a sense of personality and history that many old vehicles lose over time. The fact that it was passed down from a veteran friend and still comes with documentation and inspection receipts dating back to 1949 adds an extra layer of authenticity that is rarely seen in project cars at this price point. According to the listing, the vehicle is equipped with its original 218 cubic inch inline-six engine, paired with a 3-speed manual transmission. While it has not been confirmed running recently, the seller notes there is no reason to believe it would not run. From a practical standpoint, that suggests the engine may still have life left in it, which is an important consideration for anyone looking to preserve originality rather than perform a full drivetrain swap. The mechanical condition appears partially functional, with the clutch reportedly working, the car rolling, and the brakes operational, although in need of lubrication and general servicing. In my view, these details indicate that the car is not completely seized or beyond basic movement, which can significantly reduce initial restoration difficulty. The seller also mentions several restoration-friendly details, including restored wheels finished in hot rod black, a rebuilt original oil bath air cleaner, and the inclusion of the original spare tire still stored in the trunk. These small but meaningful touches suggest that some preservation effort has already been made, even if a full restoration has not been completed. However, the most significant repair needed is structural, as the floor requires replacement. This is a common issue in vehicles of this era, especially those exposed to decades of moisture and storage conditions. Fortunately, reproduction floor panels are available, which makes this type of repair more manageable for restoration enthusiasts. In my opinion, at just $1,000, this 1949 Plymouth Special Deluxe represents an extremely low entry point into classic car ownership. It is not a ready-to-drive vehicle, but rather a foundation for a full restoration or preservation project. For someone with the time, skills, and passion for vintage American sedans, Clyde offers both historical charm and a meaningful restoration opportunity that could bring a piece of post-war automotive history back to life.